I didn't really understood what really happened. And I made a few phone calls and I talked to my dad, and he was telling me a very funny story because my stepmother was cooking in the kitchen and she just said to my dad, go and check what Frankie did the other races. So my dad, I could just picture my dad with his, you know, he's got his little glasses and he's got the remote control and he pressed the numbers of teletext, and I could picture his face looking, all 7 horses come out 1.
Yeah.
And it was funny because he turned around to my stepmother and said, I think teletext's not working. And she said, why is that?
Yeah.
She said, well, it's one of those 7 races. Something must have gone wrong.
This was the parting of a Red Sea, completely, for me.
I've been doing the tracks for 40 years. I've never seen anything like it. Never expect to again. I thought it was a super occasion.
Well, the whole thing was fantastic because it's hard enough to ride any number of winners on a given day, but to do it on a high-profile afternoon like that was quite incredible.
I mean, Dettori is always a bad result at the betting shops. He's such a charismatic character that, you know, he's taken over the mantle from Piggott, and he's probably surpassed anything that Piggott achieved in terms of public awareness.
It was a fantastic atmosphere, it really was, and all made by him, because he's such a phenomenal character.
Oh, he's the greatest. He's the best jockey I've seen.
They've been racing here at Ascot for the best part of 300 years, but never before have they seen the like of what happened here on September the 28th, 1996. It was the first day of the Festival of British Racing, and jockey Frankie Dettori had, quite simply, a day he'll never forget. And the interesting point is that he had an inkling the day before that something was going to happen.
Yes, on Friday I was Haydock, had a few rides.
Yeah.
And basically, I was getting a little bit nervous about Mark of Esteem. He's the pinnacle of the Ascot Festival, and I knew I had a great horse, but I wasn't too happy with the opposition. It didn't look like to be very much space in the race. And actually, I was thinking about their race that much, and I didn't ride that great on the Friday. I didn't have any winners at all. And I remember going home and talking to Catherine in the kitchen. I was pacing up and down and saying, I've got a bad feeling about Saturday, you know, and as it turned out, it was a fantastic day.
And how did you get to the racecourse that day?
Myself and Andy set off a couple hours before, before the racing. We drove down, and one thing I do remember is the guys with the bowler's hat, and they're really friendly, so I just knocked the hat off his head. And
He'd appreciate that. Yeah, he would.
And it was funny because after the races on Saturday, I'm the guy where you put the hat off my head.
Yes, yes.
So it was, I remember just walking through the races, and basically, you know, when you come into the races, you've already got your mind set to what you're going to do throughout the afternoon. So basically, you're just concentrating and thinking about, how the race is going to develop in the afternoon.
And when you got here at the track, your valet, Dave Curry, had everything laid out in the jockey's room for you, as normal?
Yes, we'll walk through the entrance, go to the weighing room, the jockey room, and my good friend David Curry, my valet, who also has some top jockeys like Edric Kinan, Walter Swinburne, Willie Carson. Has all the gear ready, all the saddles and breeches and boots all polished and ready to go. And he's the guy behind the scene what keeps everything in good shape.
Well, our job is to transport the jockey's equipment from racecourse to racecourse, clean it, make sure that nothing needs repair, and just generally get everything ready for when the jockey arrives. And then during the day we have to put all the colours ready for them, get the weight ready for them, knowing which saddle they need for that race and what trainer's girths we have to put on and take off. And you know, generally just look after the jockeys from start to finish.
And I believe, talking of things that you wear, that most of the equipment that you had that day is now going to be auctioned off. And you were telling about your underpants.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the Newmarket Museum won something, so I guess they're going to give him the breeches. I'm going to keep the boots for a big charity, what is going to be towards the end of the year. And funny enough, I went to Nottingham the other day and they asked my pants. And I said, what do you want my pants for?
Underpants, yeah.
And they said they're going to auction it sometimes in the future for the Richard Davis Fund, the jockey who died in the summer. And he's for a good cause, and I hope he's going to fetch some money.
I love it. I love it. But you got some new pants on today.
Well, carry on like that, I'll have no clothes left.
Come on, let's have a wander through, because this is marvellous sight when you look here. I mean, it's so peaceful now, but on that great day, I mean, it was a great feeling. Do you get nervous before the big races?
Don't really get nervous. We're looking forward to ride the race. Obviously, we do feel something, but it's a little bit like the boxer, you know, the whole of the build-up. And by the time they're in the dressing room to the ring, you know, all they focus on is on the boxing fight, or in our case, is on the races of the afternoon. So once you come to the races, you feel good. You want to get on with it.
Well, you got on with it. You got off to a great start. Wall Street. I mean, from the Godolphin stable, Saeed bin Surah, and he'd run a good second the time before at Goodwood behind Singspiel.
Yes, I didn't ride him that day. Ray Cochran did. Singspiel is a pretty tough horse, and I thought he ran a good race.
Still looking for an angle out is Ray Cochran. Then comes Farasan back in fourth. A furlong and a half to travel. Zingspiel still in front. It opens up now for Wall Street. He's close enough if he's good enough, a length away. Then back in third is Prize Giving and Farasan, but Zingspiel stretches again and goes too clear. Back in second, Wall Street trying hard to gather in the leader but making no impression. Then Farasan and Prize Giving, and an all-the-way success in the Westminster Taxi Insurance Select Stakes. Zingspiel, a double for Michael Stout. In second, Wall Street. They're well clear from Farasan third.
The first race was the Cumberland Lodge Stakes. Over a mile and a half, there were 7 runners, and Frankie was riding Wall Street.
Last one in, Wall Street 2-1 favourite, Royal Court 11-4, 4-1 Salmon Ladder. Here's Peter.
And they're running, and Wall Street one of the first to show, with Salmon Ladder going up at his outside, Calabo on the in, and then Quakers Field, and then St Maur's and Royal Court, and the back marker is Priolina, and Wall Street is making it. Wall Street from Salmon Ladder and Calabo and Quakers Field, St Maur's on the inside of Royal Court, and then the one filly in the race, Priolina for Ireland. So Frankie setting out to make all, by the look of it, in this, or attempt to, in this Cumberland Lodge Stakes, with Wall Street the leader from Salmon Ladder and Calabo, and pulling quite hard on the outside is Quakers Field. Then come Royal Court, St Maur's, and Priolina beginning to swing right-handed. Got just over a mile to run now in this mile and a half Cumberland Lodge. And Wall Street the leader. Wall Street from Salmon Ladder and Calabo and Quakers Field, then Royal Court and St Maur's, and finally Priolina. Wall Street really stretching him, this 3-year-old son of Mr. Prospector, one of 8 runners during this great 2-day festival for his trainer Saeed bin Surah, who's involved, of course, with Henry Cecil in a great battle for the title of Trainers' Championship. Past the 6, coming up to the 5 now with Wall Street, the leader from Salmon Ladder, Calabo on the inside, Quakers Field on the outer, then Royal Court, then St Maur's and Priolina. Racing towards the half-mile pole, Wall Street on the inside of Salmon Ladder, Quakers Field on the outer, Royal Court tucked in behind them with Calabo. Priolina beginning to attempt to make a run now towards the right of the picture, the sheepskin nose band trying to get into it now, but still Wall Street from Salmon Ladder as they begin the swing into the home straight. Frankie takes a little peep over his left shoulder, sees that Salmon Ladder is the current danger under Richard Quinn. They straighten up for home, and it's Wall Street and Salmon Ladder, these two, as they pass the 2 furlong pole. Wall Street on the far side, Salmon Ladder on the near side. Priolina goes into third. Coming down to the furlong pole, Salmon Ladder on the near side, Wall Street on the far side. There's nothing between them. The filly Priolina back in third. Wall Street stretching again now as they enter the final 150 yards. Wall Street from Salmon Ladder as they race up towards the line. It's just Wall Street from Salmon Ladder as they run to the line. Wall Street and Frankie Dettori going to win the opener. Wall Street has won it from Salmon Ladder. Priolina was third. A photo for fourth between Royal Court and Calabo. And so the result of the Cumberland Lodge Stakes is first, number 7, Wall Street, owned by Godolphin Racing, trained by Saeed bin Sarur and ridden by Frankie Dettori, his 82nd winner of the season. Second was number 2, Salmon Ladder, owned by Mr. Martin Arbib, trained by Paul Cole and ridden by Richard Quinn. And third was number 8, Priolina.
Well, Frankie had no doubt about this horse getting on the trip. He went off after the first couple of furlongs at a pretty decent gallop. The first horse beaten, Royal Court, never going today. The ring knew something. He's run no race at all. He's gone right backwards. So in the end, there was only one challenger to the winner, and that was Salmon Ladder. Such a consistent horse and such a brave horse. And for a moment, it looked as though Richard Quinn might get there. If there was any chink in Wall Street's armour, then he'd exploit it. But there wasn't, and Wall Street stayed on really well.
He stayed on, as you say, Julian. This is the first time he's raced beyond 1.25 miles. Frankie Dettori had no doubts in his mind that this son of Mr. Prospector was going to get the 1.5 miles because they've gone a good gallop from about the 1 furlong post. But now you can see Frankie really sitting low on Wall Street. I thought Salmon Ladder, who's a gutsy horse, it's Goliath and the little one here, I thought he was going to wear him out of it. But Wall Street had nothing left at the end, but just enough to hold off Salmon Ladder, who run a super game race. And the Irish filly, in fact, Priolina, well, a distant third.
So a great start to the afternoon for Frankie Dettori, and more important, for Godolphin.
I thought it was one of my best chances that afternoon. I had Salmon Ladder to beat, well, he beat him before, so I had a good feeling about the race. I liked the horse a lot. I was able to dominate the race, and the horse quickened up well in the straight, and we got the first one in.
Frankie acknowledging the cheers after round 1 of this great festival. That's Saeed bin Sarur towards the left, enjoying a spectacular season. It's his 32nd winner of the season.
It's interesting that Wall Street, we're looking at the breeding of that, and Wall Street is out of a dam the dam is out of Dahlia. And Dahlia, of course, won so many big races here. So
yeah, she won the King George.
Won the King George, but would that be before you were born almost, wasn't it?
I'm not sure. I was born in 70, so...
You'd be way down there.
I don't think I remember Dahlia very well. I
don't think so. Hey, what were you saying about your dad, Gianfranco, or Juan Franco, as you say? Didn't he ride a lot of winners in one day?
Yeah, when I actually won the 7 races, my dad called me and he said it's something what he tried all his life to do. He did something really almost incredible. He did 6 winners 3 days running. He did it on the Friday, on the Saturday, on the Sunday. But I mean 6 out of 8 or 9 race card. So it could have been 3, 1 loser, and then another 3. But still incredible. Pretty amazing, 18 winners in 3 days.
Incredible. So take us on to race 2. Now your mount here was Diffident. And I mean Diffident is like a little pony almost, isn't he?
Yeah, it's quite funny because obviously the favorite was Lucayan Prince, what I've been riding throughout the year, and obviously Godolphin ran Diffident and I had to ride. And I remember I took it to John Davis, one of the travelling lad, and I said to him, well, if Diffident wins, I'm going to show my bum in the clock tower in Newmarket.
Oh, is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what I said to him.
I say. And have you done that?
No, we didn't.
No. Oh, well.
So anyway, it's not over yet because John Davis said, right, said if this one wins, I will as well. So the pair of us, we didn't have no confidence at all about Diffident.
I mean, this meeting in a sense has been billed as the great titanic battle between the Bin Sarur team, the Godolphin team, and Henry Cecil. Are you hopeful that by the end of this meeting you could be back in front in the Trainers' Championship?
Well, you know, we're obviously hopeful, but if we're not, if Henry wins the big race today, we're blown out of the water. So we're going to pack up and go home.
I doubt that. I mean, you've got a couple of quick runners here, Diffident now and Mark of Esteem a little bit later on.
Diffident's never been better. He's pretty inconsistent, so, we're not confident about him. Mark of Esteem, we're very hopeful. I mean, he's really flying at the moment.
The second race was the Raycal Diadem Stakes. There were 12 runners, and Frankie's mount here was Diffident.
Lucayan Prince, and that's it. They're all installed for the Raycal Diadem.
Lines off.
Under orders.
Jockeys.
And they're away. Cool Jazz start just a little bit slowly. Royal Figurines fast on the near side, and in the centre of Verti, and right up with them Caronita. Verti and Caronita disputing it now from Royal Figurine, and on the near side, the stern side, the right of the pictures we see them is Lucky Lionel. They're settling down now to a very fast pace and coming down towards the half-mile pole, and it's a Verti showing very good speed over on the far side, and on the near side it's Caranita. Then comes Silver Paradise on the far side. Diffident is back in fifth. J&P is fourth. It's a Verti now disputing it with Caranita. Caranita towards the right of the picture, this 850 guineas horse, and in the center of Verti, Silver Paradise over on the far side. They're past the two-pole now, and J&P is beginning to get into it too. They run down now towards the furlong pole, and it's Silver Paradise who's taken it up now from a Verti. Finishing fast over on the far side is Leap for Joy. It's Silver Paradise from Leap for Joy. Leap for Joy beginning to get up, and here comes Diffident. It's Leap from Joy now from Diffident. Diffident the channel on the far side, and on the near side Lucayan Prince, but at the line. Oh, it's a photo between Diffident and Lucayan Prince with Leap for Joy just there in third. But I think we'll find that Diffident got up on the line to hold that very late challenge of Lucayan Prince. It's close between these two.
You know, it's one of those days that everything seems to go my way. It was a very slow run race. I seemed to be in the right position, and then I saw a Leap of Joy going by, one of John Gosden's what I've been riding, for my stable. So I said, oh God, I missed another winner. Yeah. And then all of a sudden I found myself some room, flew home, just got there with 20 yards to go, and then I saw Lucayan Prince coming, but it was too late. It was a very, I think probably the most luckiest winner of the year for me. Nice Group 2. And I was happy to have 2 out of 2. And at that stage, I was thinking, well, I hope I haven't used all my luck, because
that's right.
The big race was coming up.
Do you know, even when you're involved, when there's only a matter of inches, do you know you've won?
Well, you've got a good idea. A lot depends on the way the horses carry their neck and their head, you know. Obviously, Diffident, his neck was very low and his head was right down, so that helps. And what they do most of the tracks, they cut a little strip of grass on the line, makes it a little bit shorter. So, I mean, it gives us an idea as well where the line really is. And, I mean, at the time, I kind of thought, then I held on, you know. I wasn't 100% sure, but 95.
So, Diffident by Nureyev out of Shy Princess by Irish River becomes a 33rd winner of the season for Saeed bin Surur, who's really in most tremendous form. And of course, he'll be represented in our next race, the Queen Elizabeth II Stakes, by Mark of Esteem and Charnwood Forest. Frankie being led in after completing a 38-to-1 double for himself, for the Godolphin stable, and for Saeed bin Surur.
You were saying that you were worried, because after having ridden the first 2 winners, you might have used up all your luck before Mark of Esteem.
Yes, I do. In a way, I'm kind of superstitious like that. And I mean, by winning the second race of Diffident and being very lucky, I thought it was a bad omen for me.
Yeah.
And so the third one was the big one.
Yeah.
The race I was kind of worrying on Friday, and but I was really looking forward to get on board and do it. After the Guineas, the plan was to run in the Derbies, the obvious thing, then they do with Guineas winners. And unfortunately, run a temperature. And so that ruled him out of the Derby. And you got to remember that the Royal Ascot is only 10 days after the Derby, so you can't expect a horse from running a temperature to be 100% 10 days after.
True.
And I would say then perhaps Mark of Esteem was under a cloud that day, and he ran very disappointed at Royal Ascot. I wasn't there at the broken elbow, but you know, I watched the race, and you know, it was the Mark of Esteem that we really knew. I mean, it should have been where Bijou Dend was.
Yes,
really,
exactly.
Because that's how they finish in the Guineas. And it was nice to have him back for Goodwood.
Yeah.
I rode him work a couple of times before then, and he was flying. Actually, I was shocked in the way he was going. It was flying. And I mean, the Goodwood Walter had me in prison, and I had no key to get out. And it was lucky. I was lucky enough. Then Gothenburg on the rail dropped out, left me enough gap on the inside, and it just showed that acceleration again, and it was just killed them all in 2 strides. It was fantastic to see.
Up in the style of a great horse. Goes on about 2 lengths now, Mark of Esteem. Alhaas trying to fight back with Bishop of Cashel. Restructure staying on. Distant Oasis in 5th. And inside the final 100 yards, he's back. Mark of Esteem, the Guineas winner, takes the Triple Prince Celebration Mile in great style. Bishop of Cashel got second.
Once I discovered then he had that quick burst for the furlong, then obviously the hardest part is try to keep in touch and wait till the furlong pole to release that tremendous turn of foot. And I mean, we went down to post. It was a little bit on edge. I mean, he could feel the tension of the race as well, Mark of Esteem.
Due into stall number 5, and he'll be the last to be installed.
Last one coming in.
These winners of over 2 million, earners of over £2 million between them.
And so to the big race of the day, the Queen Elizabeth II Stakes, £250,000 in prize money. We had 7 runners, including Bosrasham, Ashkelani, and Frankie's Mount, Mark of Esteem.
Just a little bit on his toes. This son of Darshan with a white face. That's it. He's in. Under orders for the Queen Elizabeth II Stakes. And they're running. Bosrasham towards the left. Over on the far side, Bijou Dand. And it's Bosrasham and Bijou Dand in the early stages. From Sharnwood Forest, then First Island, then Mark of Esteem, then Ashkelani, and finally Soviet Star. And Bijou Dand has settled down in the lead. From Bosrasham, the filly. Over on the far side is Sharnwood Forest, then comes First Island, Mark of Esteem, Ashkelani, and Soviet Star. Bijou Dand, the leader, from the only filly, Bosrasham. Then comes Sharnwood Forest. Mark of Esteem is 4, 5, 6, and 7 are First Island, Soviet Star, and Ashkelani as they race towards the half-mile pole in this Queen Elizabeth II Stakes. And it's Bijou Dand, the leader, from Bosrasham and Sharnwood Forest. They're past the half-mile pole, racing towards the home turn now, and still Jason Weaver on Bijou Dand by 2 lengths from the filly Bosrasham, then Sharnwood Forest. Then comes Mark of Esteem on the inside of First Island. Ashkelani is still the back marker of the 7 runners as they swing into the straight. 2.5 furlongs only to run now. Bijou Dand being pressed by Bosrasham. Then comes Sharnwood Forest unleashing a run in the white cap. Then behind them First Island. And here comes Ashkelani now on the outside. But it's Bosrasham, the filly, who's taken it up and attempting to become the first filly to win it, who won the Guineas in 40 years. But Mark of Esteem sprints, and Mark of Esteem and Frankie Dettori, he completes a fantastic treble. Frankie, Mark of Esteem has won it from Bosrasham. First Island was 3rd, and 4 came Sharnwood Forest, and the disappointing Ashkelani, Bijou Dand, and Soviet Star, who finished 3rd last year, was last this time. And so the result, an electrifying victory for number 6, Mark of Esteem, owned by Godolphin Racing, trained by Saeed bin Surur, and written by Frankie Dettori, his 3rd winner of the afternoon, 3rd winner for Saeed, and 3rd winner for Godolphin. 2nd was number 7, Bosrasham.
When Bosra kicked and went for home, I mean, she showed a fine turn of foot, considering it was her first race since the Guineas.
Yes, she did. It actually, she kind of surprised me because she didn't run for so long. I thought perhaps that turn of foot can only last so long, and then she would have got tired. But full credit to her, she never really stopped. But my fellas got such a high cruising speed that the only thing I was concerned is don't go too early, because I didn't want to burn all my fuel before the winning post. So I followed Bosrasham, and I'll never forget this, because I passed the furlong mark at the sign, and I was still going so well, and then I couldn't believe it. Says, we're already at the furlong marker? It's time to go, you know? So I pulled him out for Bosrasham, and I asked him the effort. Then the delivery was, I mean, just straight away. It was like a fuel injection.
Yeah.
I mean, it just knocked me out of my seat. It was tremendous acceleration. And the crowd, I mean, the crowd went ballistic. And now I know why the crowd were mad, because when I looked at the replay, I mean, just to show that acceleration is fantastic in such a high competitive race. And I mean, for me, it was already a dream day. And I'm walking back, and one of the stewards came up to me and said, look, if you can, try not to jump off, you know?
Is that what he said?
Yes.
Oh.
And I understand what he was trying to tell me, because some people don't agree, some people think it's dangerous, but I do spend most of my life on top of a horse, so if I feel then it's not safe doing it on some horses, I won't do it. But I mean, the Mark of Esteem, I had enough practice on him in the Guineas, so I'm sure that he didn't mind. But I agreed not to do it. To the steward, I said, okay, I won't do it. So I walked back to the winner's enclosure, great atmosphere, everybody was ecstatic, and it was fantastic. And I walked, to the number 1 position first, and all the owners were there, Sheikh Mohammed, the Sheikh Maktoum, the ruler of Dubai, the whole team, everybody was happy. And I just went like this, says, no, I'm not going to jump because I've been told not to. And they kind of looked at me with saying, look, we want you to do it. And I said, yeah, why not? I mean, what a great victory,
It was.
I usually save it for the special occasion, and that was a special occasion. So I did it, and everybody was happy. And I explained that to the stewards after, and they said, look, there isn't a rule to say that you can't do it, but just for safety reasons, we're a little bit concerned. And they understand. For me, it was, was already a great day.
And I think, on behalf of everybody who saw you do that, I think it's fantastic, because it's part of you, isn't it? And it's part of racing. And to see you do that, everybody waits for it now. And when it's in a big race, I think it's great. Come on, we've got 4 more rides yet. Come on. It's quite a walk, this, isn't it? I mean, you don't really appreciate it from the stand, but it is uphill all the way, isn't it, virtually?
Well, I didn't realize until I walked it with you today. But
it is amazing.
It's a very stiff track.
Yeah.
And talking about Decorated Hero, is the only race in the actual festival meeting that I haven't won.
Yeah.
And Decorated Hero was second the year before.
Yeah.
And I actually won the race on the stand side.
Yeah.
But I got beaten by the far side. So this year been drawn 22. I was a little bit worried because the main contenders of the race were drawn low. So I mean, you can see the difference there is being drawn in the middle of the track.
I thought the interesting point about Decorated Hero was that he carried, was it 9 stone 10? But he'd had his training problems, and he'd been off the course for 5 months till reappearing. What was it? The St Leger meeting at Doncaster.
Yes, I didn't ride the Decorated Hero in the mornings, but I worked with him. I rode Benedict one morning, and I worked with Decorated Hero, and I couldn't get to Decorated Hero. So we knew that the horse was in good form, and I saw the horse center at Doncaster, and I said to John, let's run the horse because he's been off for a long time, and all those sometimes they need the race to get to 100%.
And also getting involved is April the 8th, down inside the final furlong. Gerard goes on to High Nod in second. April the 8th, Giant strides down the far side on the near side from a mile off the pace. Decorated Hero, 3 in line with 25 yards to go. High Nod on the far side, Decorated Hero and High Nod, followed by Gerard.
I mean, in a way, the way it was working in the morning, it was no surprise they've won. But after a 5 months layoff, you would think that perhaps being a little bit ring rusty for the race. So unfortunately we came here to Ascot carrying an extra £5 penalty, so it made the task even more difficult. And I had this, by then it's been a great day after the first free win. But one thing what was missing in my records was I didn't win that race. It was the only race I didn't win.
Yeah.
And I mean the £5 penalty, the bad draw, so I thought, Jesus, it's going to be an impossible task.
The 4th race was the Tote Festival Handicap, a massive field of 26 runners, and Frankie's mount here was Decorated Hero.
That's my gallery rearing there.
Jockeys!
This looks like it. And that away. My Best Valentine on the near side. Old KV, who's usually weighted with, is right up there on the far side, and Sabo in the center, and also running very fast is Primo Lara. Change of cap there, the red cap, and the favorite on the rails. The favorite, High Summer, on the inside of Primo Lara, with Sabo on the far side. Unconditional Love come just behind them, then Russian Music under Mick Kinnan running the rail. but it's Primo Lara and the favourite High Summer disputing it from Sabo in the centre of the course, and mull it over on the far side with KV. On the near side, High Summer, Primo Lara. These two have been disputing it throughout. Sabo in the middle of the course, and then Jawal making good progress. KV, the grey, coming over towards the stand side. And on the near side, it's Primo Lara with the favourite under pressure now and losing ground. And coming there is Russian Music just in behind him with KV also. And Jawal is in the fighting line as well. And now coming there fast is Decorated Hero under Frankie Dettori over on the far side. And Decorated Hero has come now to take it up from Russian Music and KV. It's going to be another for Frankie Dettori as they race up towards the line. Decorated Hero sprints away to win it from KV. Russian Music at third, and 4 removes, and 5 is My Best Valentine. He's done it again. It's a 4-timer, and the result of the Toad Festival Handicap. Number 1, the winner, Decorated Hero, owned by Mr. Herbert Allen, trained by John Gosden, and ridden by Frankie Dettori. Second was number 7, KV.
They talk about Botham's match. This is Dettori's day. The favourite, one of the first beaten on the stands rails, so she's never really travelling happily, and she's beaten here. Frankie's starting to thread his way through, but he's got plenty to do, but he just looms up on the outside now. But KV is in front and going better than anything. On the stand side, Russian Music's there with a good pitch. Goldspat flattered for a moment from the back, as indeed had Lady Harris runner Jawal, but the grounds found him out. And now here comes Frankie, just as KV looked as though he might pick up the big prize, and swoops into the lead. 9 stone 13, nothing can stop him today.
For such a competitive handicap, you always have to be afraid of the horses with a little bit lower weight.
Yeah.
It's always very hard to give weight to horses in good form.
Yeah.
And I mean, despite the £5 penalty, Decorated Hero managed to win. So I thought it was a fantastic performance, Derek.
1,000.
So Frankie, for the 4th time, returns to the winner's circle, this time on a 7-to-1 chance. His 4-year-old by warning out of bequeath by Lifar. Decorated Hero. The Gosdens have trained for the Allen family for a long while. John's father, Taza, having trained for them with great success, notably best.
But on a day when the bookies are already crying with pain with the efforts of Mr. Dettori, do you think one jockey can affect horses in a way that perhaps other jockeys don't? That some of them have that bit extra that gives you £5 or £6 in a race like this?
Well, £5 or £6 is a lot to talk about. I think he rode a very cool race in this. They went very fast on the stand side. He sat after them, rode his own race, which we always decided we were going to do from there, came through and won. If you ask me if you think Frankie Dettori is the best jockey, my answer would be emphatically yes. But one's felt that for a long time. He's a very great jockey. He'd also be a great jockey in America and anywhere else.
I mean, you've worked with him, as you say, for a long time, but it's been an up-and-down season for him, and the worst was when he had that nasty fall at Newbury. He was out for 6 or 7 weeks. His appetite through those bad times showed you that he couldn't wait to get back.
Well, he's a very bright fellow. He's got a lot of guts and tenacity. He worked very hard to get back. He's still got all the metal in his elbow. He sets off the alarm detectors when he goes to the airports nearly. And he'll have to have an operation to have that removed at the end of the year. But I suppose when you're young and healthy and you've got that kind of purposeful attitude, you'll go a long way.
And earlier this week he was off to a slimming club or a health club.
Yes, he wasn't feeling too good. We had the trouble at York when he came back. He's over that, but he just had a little bit of cold on him. But rather than just lie around the house, he went and got himself organised. These are athletes. These aren't just fellows who get riding a horse. You've got to be phenomenally fit and phenomenally strong, and they're riding below their natural body weight, which is probably people don't realise.
What about the fact that you had the first 4 winners? You said then that you didn't really think, it was anything special apart from the fact that you won this race you hadn't won before. But then was there something at the back of the old brain that said, hang on, I've won the first 4. I just might do something special today?
No, I wasn't thinking like that. By then I was happy to win the race that I wanted to win after the first 3 races. Yeah. And going into the 5th race, faithfully, she was a favourite in the morning's newspapers, but I mean, I've got a pretty good knowledge about the other horses, and I wouldn't put it as a clear favourite. It looked a very competitive race, and I had a very open mind about it.
There's this Fatefully. She had one 2 weeks earlier, was it, at Sandown?
Yes, exactly. John Reed rode her at the occasion.
Yeah.
And the filly was on the upgrade. I mean, she didn't do anything wrong, and we came to this race with, with a good frame of mind, looking for a big run.
At the far side, the favourite strikes into the lead now, a length and a half, 2 lengths, and drawing away up the hill. It's Fatefully by 2 or 3 lengths from Sandhill, and then Hippie with Zarnista running on, but Fatefully wins well. In second place, Sandhill.
And so to race 5, the Rosemary rated stakes, a handicap with 18 runners, and Frankie was on board a filly called Fatefully.
They're away to a pretty level break over this straight mile. Frankie Dettori bidding for a 5-timer on Fatefully as one of the leaders towards the stand-side group. Ninia with her white face leads the ones racing out towards the centre. Super Mover is well there, so is Minal Hawa and Questonia. Tucked in just behind is Prancing, and they've covered 2 furlongs with Ninia just in the lead from Minal Hawa. Super Mover on the near side. Fatefully is now dropped in just behind Super Mover. Questonia's right up with them. On the rails is Anastina, and they're very tightly grouped. They haven't gone a great gallop. And on the near the rails, it's Super Mover with Questonia, Ninia, Minal Hawa, then Anastino. Fatefully still going well, so is Alien Jane, then Prancing towards the outside, Divina Luna, tracked by Satin Bell. Panata being bustled along on the rails. They've got 3.5 to race. Ninia, Questonia, Super Mover. Then Minal Hawa being pushed along. Fatefully still cruising. Then Alien Jane coming on the outside. Divina Luna and Satin Bell, 2.5 to go. Ninia and Questonia with Fatefully now being pushed along. Then Prancing, Divina Luna on the outside, and here's Fatefully being produced by Frankie Dettori to challenge Questonia and Pat Edbury. Prancing is in 3rd place. Abea's putting in a late run, a furlong to go, and Fatefully strikes the front. Prancing challenging, so is Questonia and Abea, but Fatefully and Frankie Dettori bidding for this fantastic 5-timer, and he looks as if he's just going to do it, though Abea's finishing very fast. Fatefully just holds Abea. Prancing is 3rd, and Questonia is 4th.
She was 7-4 favourites, and she beat a horse called Abea, yeah?
Yes, exactly. Abea bred by Willie Carson, so...
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Willie wasn't at Ascot, but I'm sure if he was at Ascot, he would have given me a big bollocking. But, I mean, the race itself, I didn't have a plan. I just sat behind the leaders. I got a nice split at about 2 furlong marker. And I remember Jason shouting me on, I mean, he was one of the leaders and he was dropping back.
Yeah.
And when he saw me coming through, he knew it was going to be my 5-timer, and he shouted me out. I said, "Oh, Frankie, go and get him."
Brilliant.
And we passed the furlong marker, and I was just waiting for something to come and beat me, actually. And obviously Ray came to my girth, but my filly just pulled out that little bit more. And great, the run continued. It was my 5th win. It was fantastic.
Now, how were you feeling at this time? I mean, obviously you were on a high. You would be by now. I mean, could the horses feel this? Do you think they felt that you were really flying?
Yes, I mean, it's peculiar when jockeys' confidence is really high, horses kind of feel it, and perhaps the last 2 horses felt that special day. I mean, I remember walking back in on Faithfully, I got a lovely clap from the crowd, and I mean, the whole Godolphin team were... Well, they already had a fantastic day, the first 3 races. So that race, I mean, we couldn't really believe that it was, it was 4 out of 4 for Godolphin. It was my 5th win, was great. And I remember walking into the scales to weigh in, and it was Ian Balding waiting for me for the 6th race.
Yeah.
And he said to me, I hope you haven't used all your luck. Now you ride it for me.
Well, you hadn't, had you? Because Lock Angel, and I mean, she's a half-sister to Lock Song. Any sort of resemblance between the two?
They're both very big,
yeah.
But Lock Angel's chestnut and Lock Song was bay.
Yeah.
But obviously there is as much of ability as Lock Song. Perhaps not over 5. Perhaps Lock Angel wants a little bit further than Lock Song, but she felt really good when I rode it.
She had one previous run before this Blue Seal Stakes. In a race at Kempton, she ran very, very green, didn't she? She didn't know what day of the week it was, really.
Yes, I spoke to Martin Dwyer, who rode her that day, and he said that she missed the kick by 15 lengths, and she managed to run on and finish second. So that was a very good achievement.
Being manoeuvred out to challenge, then Rin Princess. Lock Angel is really getting the hang of things and flying through on the outside with the white sheepskin noseband as they approach the final furlong and a half. And Blainwater has committed and gone for home from Silver Crystal and Villarica. Still Lock Angel after that slow start is running on strongly, but as they enter the final 150 yards, it's Blainwater and David Harrison who is in second place to come through and lap that position from Silver Crystal. But at the line, an impressive debut by Blainwater, wins comfortably. Lock Angel is second, in third Silver Crystal.
I remember going in the paddock, and apart from Wall Street, that looked another race very, very winnable, because it was myself and Pat Edry's horse of Henry Cecil Corsini.
Yes.
That it looked like to be a 2-horse race. So if I play my card right, it could have been 6 out of 6.
The next race was the Blue Seal Stakes for 2-year-old fillies, just 5 runners, and Frankie was on board a horse called Lock Angel, a half-sister to Lock Song.
I mean, she jumped out like Lock Song used to do, and she jumped out, was in front, and nobody wanted to go in front, so I
improvised. Yeah.
I didn't listen to the orders, and I made the running. And
can you imagine what they were probably saying?
Yes.
What's he doing with the? We told him to be.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things in racing. You can have an idea of what's what you're going to do, but sometimes things that actually work are you expected. And I managed to find myself in front. I edged towards the rail, and from about past the 3 furlong mark, I started to quicken up the tempo. And the filly responded, and she was quickening up really well.
And Lock Angel bidding for the Frankie Dettori 6-timer is in the lead from Corsini. Dust Dancer being pushed along on the rails. 2 furlongs to go, and Lock Angel still going well in the lead. Pat Edry's getting quite serious on Corsini.
And we got to the last furlong, and she started to get a little bit tired, and I could see Pat coming. And I mean, the last 100 yards, I just managed to save a little bit to get me to the line, and we won with 3/4 of a length to spare.
Right up to the line, Corsini is putting in a last effort, but Lock Angel holds on for the 6-timer. Corsini is second, Dust Dancer back in third, then Plaisir d'Amour.
When you passed this winning post there on Lock Angel, you were giving it everything, weren't you?
Yeah, I remember punching the air, because I knew I equaled and achieved something personal as well. I equaled Alex Russell's record.
Alex Russell's record.
Of 6 out of 6.
Yeah.
So Gordon Richards and Willie Castle in Newcastle. So it was a great moment, and it was just a dream, really.
Can I ask you, because your valet, David Curry, his late father looked after Alec Russell, who did the record before you. It's unbelievable.
Yes, David's father, Fred, used to be a valet too, and unfortunately passed away this summer, and I wish he was there to see it
would have been
happening
lovely.
again. But David has looked after me since I was apprentice, so it was nice for him to be here and see it, because that could have been Scotland or something like that.
So what happened? You came back then, you jumped off the horse, you went into the weighing room, and now you're one away from rewriting the history books.
Well, it was great. I mean, already 6 was great. And I remember most of the jockeys came out and congratulate me. My valet was out, Ian Balding was ecstatic, the crowd was going mad. And I weighed in, and I just quickly got ready for the 7th race. And I remember giving the saddle to Michael Stout. And then I said to him, look, if this horse get beat, I cannot blame you. I was only joking, and I was getting interviewed by Sue Barker, and they presented me with a big magnum with champagne.
This is after the 6th race?
Yes, it was after the 6th race. So Pierre Bengoff presented me with a magnum with champagne. It was, I mean, it was equaling a record, and to do it at Ascot for such a great day was something we needed recognition. So he presented me with this bottle of champagne, and I said a few words at the microphone. I said what a fantastic day it has been. And I mean, I thought that the dream was going to stop there. I didn't think that it could have been possible to ride one more.
Yeah. You got to play football.
Did Arsenal win?
2-0, Frankie, 2-0.
Yes!
And you got to play next Thursday.
Don't touch me because I'm red hot. You're right, burn today.
I need that luck. It's been one of the most amazing days in the history of Ascot. 6 winners on a festival day, and 1 ride for Frankie still to come. Frankie, could you have believed it could have happened like this?
No. I had some great days in my life, but they still take all to beat. Amazing. It's just it's so competitive racing, and to do 6 in a row is just a dream come true. One thing for sure, I'm definitely going to do the lottery tonight. I'm very lucky today.
You won 6 races, prize money of over £370,000. And the incredible thing is you have got a chance in the 7th race. You don't know much about the horse, but you won the race last year.
Yeah, I won the race last year with the same horse, actually, for Gemma Crest. He's got a stone too much, but I don't think this time the boy's going to let me win this one. But I mean, it's been an incredible day. I'd like to say thanks to all my followers, and it's been a dream come true.
And even Arsenal won.
Yes, that's right, Arsenal won, so well done, boys.
Frankie, go out and do it.
Thanks very much.
And so to the final race, race 7 and Fujiyama Crest. All eyes were on this horse. Could Frankie pull off the 7-timer here in the Gordon Carter Handicap?
I remember Walter saying in the weight room, says, look, you come this close, don't let your ropes go, because you never get this close again. And I remember walking out of the paddock, and all the people asking for their autograph, and I just quickly glanced at the electronic price board, and I mean, looking on the paper, it was a 12-to-1 shot in the morning, but then when I turned around, there was a 2-to-1 favourite. I mean, I couldn't believe it, what was going on. And but I just shrugged my shoulder and I said, well, you know, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it's been a fantastic day anyhow.
Meant to be, a roar goes up from the crowd.
At this stage, I mean, punters around the country, you probably wouldn't have thought at that stage, because punters around the country had so much money. As we know now, they've cleaned out the bookies and all that. So there's a lot of money riding on you, but of course you wouldn't even think that, I suppose.
Well, I'm glad I didn't know, because if I knew that it was something like 25 or 30 million involved, I might have panicked and done something wrong.
So what was September the 28th like for the bookmakers? We've got David Hood from William Hill, Mike Dillon from Ladbrokes, the big 2 bookies. How much did you lose that day, you two?
I think between us we managed to shoot in about 25 or 30 million, the whole industry.
Wow.
It was quite a day, yeah.
I mean, what was it like that day? It's been described as, what, the worst day in bookmaking history?
Black Saturday is how we labelled it, and I think that's accurate, Derek. It was our equivalent to the stock exchange crash. And as one winner rolled in after another, then things dawned at how bad it could be. And, you know, after the 5th, you really didn't think he'd get 6th, and after the 6th, you thought, well, he won't get the 7th, and after they'd all gone in, then you had to wait for the dust to settle and see how bad it was.
John Reid, as a top jockey yourself, what was it like that day for you and the fellow lads in the jockeys' room?
Well, I think as the day went on, we just couldn't believe it. Frankie kept riding another winner and another one. And I must admit, by the last, I thought, well, he just can't win the last, you know. And of course he did. It was unbelievable. And you know, I think we all would dream about having a day like that, and it doesn't happen, or not very often anyway. And Frankie done it. We just felt fantastic for him, and the atmosphere in there was great.
Past Swingley Bottom, I remember looking at the 5 furlong marker. We passed the 5 furlong marker, and I still felt that Fujama, he was pretty fresh. He wasn't dynamite.
See Victor towards the outside. Northern Fleet still tracking the leader, and they've got 5 to race now. And Fujiyama Crest bidding to make all the running.
And we passed the 4, and I was surprised that nobody came and took me on. So then we passed, you know, we're approaching the 3 furlong marker before the straight, and my horse is a little bit of a lengthener, it's a galloper. So I asked him for that effort, and he responded, going to his right lead, and he started to stretch.
With 3 furlongs to race, Fujiyama Crest by 2 lengths from Northern Fleet, then Upper Gallery and Meant to Be, and then comes Durham towards the outside, 2 furlongs out, Fujiyama Crest, another roar from the crowd, Frankie Dettori's out in front, Northern Fleet is in pursuit, Durham coming on the outside, then Pearl Venture, but it's still Fujiyama Crest and Frankie Dettori going for the 7-timer, Northern Fleet and Pat Henry in 2nd place, running on in 3rd is Embryonic, Fujiyama Crest and Northern Fleet. It's a desperate finish as they run up to the line. Fujiyama Crest finding a bit more, and it's 7 for Frankie. Fujiyama Crest holds on for Northern Fleet, then Miraswaki and Imus Flutter.
As soon as I turned into the straight, I could hear the crowd. I mean, from the top of the straight to the winning post, it takes around 30 seconds. I mean, it was a consistent roar for 30 seconds. I mean, 30 seconds doesn't sound a lot, but you try to scream for 30 seconds, it's pretty much. And I could feel Fujiyama getting tired. We passed the furlong mark, and Fujiyama was getting tired. The 9 stone 10 was beginning to tell. And I could see this horse appearing, and I could hear him, you know, Pat at his very best. He was going all out. He was really going for it. And I mean, I was just praying to God, please winning post count, please winning post count. And though Fujiyama was just, you know, was so tired, and he just managed to get there on the line. And, you know, I gave him all my best effort. And I remember crossing the line, I just punched the air, and I was that exhausted that I nearly fall off. And basically, I didn't really understand what happened. I've got no words to explain. And even the other jockeys, everybody was shell-shocked. And I think the impact was yet to come. I mean, I rode the 7th. I don't think anybody can explain what really happened, you know? And not even can I up to this day. And, well, I said, well, I want to enjoy this. So I'm going to walk Fujiyama Crest from the minute I pull him up, and I'm going to walk him back, because I won't have time to sunk this special moment in. I mean, all Fujiyama was knackered, and he was walking along. And I remember a couple of cameras made me stop and do the 7th with my fingers. We took the pictures, and we walked through the gate.
Now, what I want you to do now is to take us through what it was like coming back into the winner's enclosure, all right?
Yes, let's go and live it again.
Come on, let's go.
I'll never be able to do it again. And so by the time I come near the gates, all the crowd gathered around this, what is a special arena, what could be the 18th green, or could be the centre court at Wimbledon. It was a great atmosphere. I can really still picture it now. Everybody, I mean, they were everywhere. So many people. And it was a fantastic atmosphere. And I think I did the highest jump I ever did at Fujiyama. And I remember cuddling John Ferguson, the manager of the horse, and Michael Stout. And I remember David being out, my valet, most of the jockeys. And I mean, it was just, and I remember thanking the crowd. I mean, it was just amazing. So anyway, the job is not finished until you go in and weigh in.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And I remember jumping on the scales, check my weight, and 9 stone 10, officially weighed in. I remember dropping the saddle, jumping on David, and done it. It was great. I did my job, and it's official.